Jim, we're back on Zoom, the video conferencing app, to do this episode of The Bottom Line. We talk about economic issues every week, and lately, we're for a while, we're going to be consumed by how the coronavirus pandemic is affecting the St. Louis economy. This week, we're going to talk about the business community and how severe the impact is going to be, and the relief bill that Congress passed, $2 trillion, how quickly and effectively that will flow to business.
Yeah, I walked through downtown Clayton the other day, and the place was a ghost town. You have to assume that the people who are working in the offices, they're working from home, but the shops were closed. All the restaurants were closed, some doing takeout, some just closed, period. Those people are going to suffer. But Uncle Sam has a bit of a solution for some of them in terms of these forgivable loans. Basically the deal is this: if you will keep people on your payroll, you can get one of these loans, and it will be, and you can use it for payroll, you can use it for overhead, you can use it to pay your rent, and then if payroll is kept up, they will forgive it at the end. So I'm wondering if that could be a solution for some of them.
Yes, I think it can for some of them, probably not for all, but for many of them. I talked to some bankers who are going to be making these loans. They say that as soon as the Small Business Administration gets them the guidelines and the forms they need to use, they can spring into action pretty quickly and get the money into small businesses' hands. The Treasury Secretary is talking about as early as Friday, April 3rd, to get that information out. So one banker told me they'd work over the weekend if that happens and try to be getting loans out early the following week.
I know speed is of the essence here because these places are already closed. Their rent is due April 1st, which is today. They've already laid their people off, and will they call them back? Get these loans? Will they do that?
I think some of them will. I talked to one small business, a retailer that is trying to keep going with online sales and curbside pickup. They've laid off some employees. He said they would probably call them back if they get this forgivable loan, because that's a condition of the loan. You have to keep your staff, largely intact.
And this, if it works, will be wonderful. Because at the end of this, when they allow the stores to open again, when they allow the restaurants to open again, you will have a staff that's already there. You won't have to go out and find them, and the owners will not be bankrupt. You will not have these empty storefronts that the landlords will try to have to fill up again. We can get a quick recovery for what is at this point 10% of our workforce working in these leisure hospitality stuff, not counting the retail people that are being laid off.
Oh, clearly there will be some pent-up demand. Of course, it all depends on how the public health aspect plays out and whether people are still concerned about infection as we get into the summer months. It will be a while before we're back to normal, and that's the question for some of these small businesses. Will the federal assistance be enough? Will it last them long enough to get through the crisis?
That's true. Now, the other aspect of this are the bailout for the big boys, the companies over 500 employees, where to some extent, Uncle Sam is going to play Santa Claus here, but to some extent, he's going to be a bit of a mean Santa Claus. Because my understanding is what they say of these big companies: if you want this bailout, if you want these grants, you want these cheap loans, what are you going to give us in return? They're asking them. And I suspect that they're going to want, and Uncle Sam should want, some equity, some stock warrants, something that assures Uncle Sam that you're not just taking this cheap loan and grant because you can get it, you're taking it because you really need it. That's my thought on it.
Well, I think there are a couple of levels here. If it's just a loan and the loan's going to be paid back, then I don't think Uncle Sam needs to take equity in the companies, or needs to be really have draconian strictures on them. I think they will ban stock buybacks. They will ban executive bonuses and excessive compensation. during this period, and they should do that. The main condition that should be on these loans is you got to keep your workers employed.
That's it. That's the main payback for Joe taxpayer out there.
Yeah. Now, if it does come to grants or loans that are going to be forgiven, where it's, you're actually giving money to these companies, yeah, then it would be, I think, acceptable for the government to take warrants, like they did in the banks during the TARP bailout back in after the last recession.
And a question is, has Congress really appropriated enough, either for the small businesses or the large businesses? Are we going to need I guess at this point, a fourth or a fifth bailout? What do you think?
I think we will need additional stimulus or relief money as we get into, probably by late May, early June. They should be talking about that. This is not going to be enough. $2 trillion sounds like an incredible amount of money, but it's not going to be enough. For one thing, it's going to run out. It's only 8 weeks of payroll for these small businesses. The unemployment benefits also run out at some point. They're going to need to extend that, because this is going to last more than just a month or two. Also, there are needs they didn't address in that stimulus bill. State and local governments are going to have tremendous revenue shortfalls and needs that they're going to have to either slash their payrolls, which makes the crisis worse, or they're going to have to turn to Uncle Sam for help.
So right now we have Uncle Sam, everybody's sugar daddy, everybody's Santa Claus, borrowing money to some extent to the Fed, printing money, over fist, running up the national debt. I hate to say it, but I think it's necessary.
Oh, it's the right thing to do, and it's we may have to confront that debt at some point, but right now this is we need to do whatever it takes to get people through this crisis.
I agree, and God help us all.